Antonio. Went to James Madison High School. He attends the University of Texas A&M University in San Antonio. And for the past 2 years, he's been an organizer for Move Texas, a wonderful partner of ours today. Come on up, Villalon. Thank you.
How's everybody doing this hot Texas morning? It's hot out here, I know y'all. Thank you so much, Frank, for that beautiful introduction. I appreciate you and everything that him and everybody else has set up this rally has done in such a short amount of time. It really is incredible. But before I begin, I wanted to start with just a few acknowledgments of my own. First, I want to acknowledge that we are currently occupying stolen indigenous land. I want to also acknowledge that the United States was founded on mass genocide, slavery, and oppression. I also want to honor the work that we're doing here as foundational, and that every single person who's here today, y'all's contribution matters in more ways than y'all can realize. So thank y'all for coming. So today, I want to express how righteous it is to be here today. How righteous it is to stand on the steps of City Hall of San Antonio, a place that we all call home, and to demand righteous reform from our electeds, to prioritize gun safety when they're casting their votes, not just next November, but in the future as well. And that word, righteous, it's definitely an interesting word. It actually means that a person or an entity's intentions or conduct is morally right, virtuous, or justifiable. Now, I've lived in Texas my whole life, whether it's been the northeast suburbs of San Antonio or the small town streets of Weslaco, Texas, Pool 956. And pretty much from elementary school, I was told that Texas is different from the rest. Everything's bigger in Texas and all that stuff. We learned in Texas history class about Texas' storied history of independence, conflict, and defiance of the status quo. And within all those stories were the same words. And one of those words was righteous. And I'll stand on Texas as my home state to the end of time. And I wish I could say that I feel that righteousness today, seeing all of my fellow San Antonians come together for something so important. But honestly, that righteousness isn't there right now. Right now, I fear anger, sadness, and pain, and fear. I'm angry because of the inaction by the people that we've elected to prioritize strict gun control. I'm sad and I'm grieving because of the lives that we've already lost due to that inaction. Lives that we will not get back. And I'm afraid, not just for my life, but for the lives of those around me. I think about my best friend who just had a son who will be going to school not too far from now. I think about my classmates here at Texas A&M San Antonio. I think about my coworkers at Move, whose job it is to go to community campuses and college campuses and talk to young folks about community engagement. So I stand here today as a young Texan and I ask the leaders of this state, the leaders of this nation, what is righteous about allowing an 18-year-old to obtain or purchase a weapon, an assault rifle, with zero to no accountability? I asked myself that question when I was a high school student. And when a classmate of mine brought a duffel bag to my school, my campus, carrying an assortment of firearms and an AK-47, and waited. Now, on that day, nobody lost their lives, but I did not understand just how close me and my friends came to catastrophe that day. I couldn't understand just how close this city came to dealing with an immense tragedy. I didn't have the language. How could I have the language? I was in high school. Unfortunately, today, I can imagine pretty vividly what that would have been like. Looking back, it was that kind of question that started me down the path that I'm on today. Like I said, I didn't have the language when I was in high school to even start down the path of finding answers or solutions to the issues that I see in my state. But I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that Move Texas was exactly what I was looking for as a young person. Here's the part where I get to brag about my friends at Move. Here we go. Y'all ready? Move is a nonpartisan, nonprofit grassroots organization that builds power in underrepresented communities through civic education, leadership development, and issue advocacy. We're not in it for the money. We don't throw our support behind any particular candidate or party. And we're out here changing the culture around voting here in the state of Texas. At New Texas, we're committed to building political power among young people as we build up a new generations of leaders to change the face of power here in Texas. Whether we're casting a ballot, whether we're sharing our stories with each other, or whether we're at the Texas Capitol making noise, making our voices heard, or doing what we're doing right now and marching in the streets for the rights that we know we deserve, we're meeting young Texans where they're at to make an impact on the issues that matter the most to our generation. And do not get it twisted. Our generation's future is on the line right now. If we don't come together now and demand stricter gun laws, stricter gun control for our electeds, then the loss of life will not decrease, it will continue. We must implore elected officials at the national, at the state, and at the local level who have blocked gun control safety actions to act in the past common sense reforms like universal background checks, red flag laws, and assault weapon reform. In addition, we must also call on all members of the Texas delegation to vote yes for H.R. 7910, which is a firearm safety bill that's been introduced in the United States House of Representatives that would increase the minimum age of purchasing for a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun to 21 years old and would prohibit large capacity shootings. Texas is one of the youngest and the most diverse states in the country, and we, a new generation of voters and civic leaders, are coming together in our own power. The state is changing rapidly and in ways that no amount of voter suppression is going to stop us from doing what it is that we want to do. So if you're not registered to vote already, please, I beg you, come see me at the Move Texas table. We can get you registered to vote, and we can get you ready to cast your ballot in the national, state, or local election, whatever you want to participate in, as long as you're making your voice heard.